And good morning and welcome to Locked in Stitches. As always, I am Julie Hall, and give me 1 second here while I make sure everything is coming up correctly. Okay. How are we doing this evening? Thank you so much for joining us. I do appreciate you coming along. As I said, I'm Julie Hall. Excuse the fact that my hair is blending into the background. It was dye day today, so everything is always brighter on dye day. Okay, so I hope you're all having a great day. You can see here I've got my finished block 1 from our Deco Divas, and today we are going to work on the second block. And the second block, and I keep on getting the names wrong with these, is Lola. So Lola is a bit of a jazz singer. I'm going to do Lola with a beautiful emerald accessories, but I do want to show you just before we get started the 3 new colors that I've just had come in the King Star Metallic. We've got the beautiful rose pink as per usual, and I've got an aqua, and I've got what's called a Pacific blue, and they are just such pretty colors. So they are of course limited, but you can get them at the present time on the website. And I can see we've got Gail Murphy with us. Thank you for joining us, Gail. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I've got all the important things here, of course. I've got my coffee, I've got my water, and I know you are going to love this design just as much as I do. The Divas are just a phenomenal collection of designs, and I'm loving how they're turning out. Like, I've done one on a white background, I've done one on a black background. Taking the difference, I'm doing it on the grey. I'm liking how that gives something sort of halfway between them as well. So let's come along and have a look at how we are going to get this one. And what I've got here is, of course, my wash away thread. And we've got Barbara Evans. Good evening, Barbara. How you going? Between me being away and all of that, I haven't heard from you in yonks. So wash away thread and the perfect basting stitch, that cross hatch in the basting stitch, really does just hold everything down a little bit better. And you can see in the hoop here exactly why you are going to want to do that, because there just is not enough fabric to go into that hoop. Okay. And as you'll know from the way I do applique, it is all about doing everything in sections. So it's all about, first of all, putting down all of our fabrics as one. And I do it this way so that I don't have to change where I'm my threads around. And today I'm using the back of this cream fabric, and I'm loving that you can really do that and get double the amount of tones out of your fabrics. And good evening, Trish, and Michelle Reynolds as well. Michelle's cooking dinner. That's a step up to me. I lazied out and sort of, I told hubby what we were cooking. I cooked 3 times this week. My God, isn't that enough for people? Okay. And, I had a busy day. I had to be at the hairdressers for hours. Actually, no. Truth is, I I've got a toothache. I've had a toothache for about the last month and I'm just too horrible, just too scared of the dentist to go and see about getting it done. So think of me at 9 o'clock in the morning. Now, every other time that I've made this quilt, it's always been in a single colour of hair. This time around, I am doing multiple hair colours. So last month's was blonde. This time I'm doing a somewhere between, I think, a red and a brown. And I just love the fabric. Okay, Michelle, I've got no idea what you're cooking. Fried rice or fish? Either way, it sounds lovely. And for everybody who's been running over their fingers, the thang is working wonders to stop me from doing that. Getting very excited. I am on the road next week. If you are in Queensland, in, for instance, near Browns Plains, and I'm going to pop a link up as I'm doing this, because I am coming to play for a week at Browns Plains. And it'll be at Sower's Delight. So I'm just looking. And they've got it on their website, but they haven't got it on, sorry, they've got it on their Facebook page. So let me find the link. Now, one of the things that I like about this one is it really only has 3 colours of applique in it. So we've got the body, we've got the hair, and then we've got the dress. And okay, fried rice and fish. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Now, it is important that we get as much of the excess cut away here as possible. Once we've done that, it's time to start the detail stitching. So, first thing I'm going to start with is the hair. And what I love about these chickies is how they are, it's not just doing a satin stitch around, it's all the extra little bits. So the hair, as you can see, is stitching out waves in the hair itself. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, what am I? I'm 50 now, so my grandmother would have been, or my grandmothers were children of the 20s, or were, you know, teenagers in the 20s. And one of the things that I always remember when I think of my nans is the pin curls or pin waves. They were so setting their hair with bobby pins after every hair wash. And hair wash was something you only did once a week. And then, of course, we come through and it does that gorgeous satin stitch with the triple around it. It's been really interesting. I've been writing over the last couple of weeks and I've just broken my thread, so let's do a rethread. No, I'm not. I'm going to do my face. I have been writing instructions on how I digitize for a project that I've got coming up. And it's been really interesting just watching and trying all the different ways and trying to put into writing why I do what I do. Oh, puffy heat transfer vinyl. Oh, I like that idea. The other one that I was thinking was how cool would a glitter heat transfer vinyl look on the lips? And so again, the satin is just, and it's only like 0.5 millimeter. Like normal applique is between 2.5 and 2 millimeters. Mine is between 2.5 and 3. So it's like 0.5 millimeter, but it makes such a difference when you put it all together. Okay. And for these guys, it really is just all about covering up all of the edges, but in the right way. So every piece of stitching has to cover up anything that it joins over. Now, when you're looking for skin colours, really put the fabric on your skin and see how you feel about it. Generally speaking, I like a hand-dyed skin colour because you get lots of textures in it. But again, I'm on my reuse and use up sort of a thing. And this spot is one that I had, which is why it's being used. And good evening, Roz. Thank you for joining us. I hope you're having a fantastic day. And when I do this chick in black hair, she's a little bit Miss Fishery. And G and I have been watching a lot of the Miss Fishers over the last month. So you can see here all of my pin curls are very, very tight. And of course, depending on what color you use to highlight that hair, you'll get different colors coming out of it. Now, somebody else was suggesting to me that they were going to do felt for the hat, which would look stupendous. Oh, damn. Okay, another bobbin. Now, loving how low these bobbins go. Hating that when it needs changing, it needs changing. And we go back. So again, the size that I'm doing on these guys is the 180 by 280 size, but the designs come in everything from 5 by 7 up to 8 by 12, 9 by 12. And they're just so much fun to stitch. Very exciting times in the Hall house this week. Our little baby boy got his first speeding ticket. We're very, very proud. Doing 47 in a 40 zone at 4 in the morning. Now, he swears blind that he, and both him and the girl who doesn't talk, who was with him that weekend, swear blind they were not in the city, but it's definitely his car. So yes, we're just so proud. Okay. So, and of course, then we come back around to the satin. And one of the things that I've really tried to do with these designs is go in a different sort of colorway to what I had originally done. And that's a really difficult one for me to, sorry, Roz, I'm just seeing your comment. What do you do? Quite honestly, like, you just... and look, it's a rite of passage. It's... And good evening, Selena. Lovely to see you, my darling. It is difficult for me. I don't know about you guys, but it's really difficult for me to create something in a certain set of colours that are in my mind and then to totally change them around and do them in something different. It's something that I just struggle with. So being able to, to come through and do that is kind of a big one for me. But really go through, and this would be a great one even if you had like leftover fabrics from, whether it be from other projects or even old clothes or something. This would be a great way to keep some of those together. Now, when Michelle's talking about using heat transfer for, like, puffy heat transfer for the hair, etc., we're about to do a retreat together up near up in Yeppoon, and we're going to be doing a bag using one of the Deco Divas or one of the Women of Style, and I'll of course show pictures and everything as we do that. And it's something that we can do here in Locked In Stitches as a project if we then wish later on in the year. But what Michelle's looking at doing is she's going to take that digitized image into her cutter software and use it to cut out the outline of the hair and just to give it a different texture. Okay, so what have we got? Rosalind's asking, what size will we be doing for the bag at the retreat? I'm assuming you're meaning what size design there, Ros, who's one of the people attending, just for everybody else. I believe we are doing, and Michelle, tell me if I'm wrong, I believe we're doing a 180 by 280, which is the size that I'm doing here. And I might even show you at the end, because I'm giving two different designs that you can have the choice of to do. I'll show you what the other one will look like. Ah, the size hoop in your requirements. Oh, look at you thinking ahead like that, Michelle Marbell. Okay. So yes, I'm hoping that that my trip to the dentist is not too painful. I'm assuming it's going to be at least a filling, and that I'll then be able to just get back onto stuff this weekend. But I've recovered from my trip. Okay, so my hair is now done and my body is done. So the next thing that we're going to move on to is going to be our facial features. And the facial features I'm talking about here is, of course, our eyes. Now, I'm using black because it goes really well with the darker hair. You could use a charcoal if you wanted to. Really is up to you. And then we're going to come down and start the detail on the dress. Now, I've decided that what I'm going to do here, and it's something that I don't normally do because I'm not a huge zebra stitching fan, but I absolutely love this pink and white thread that I've got. And I'm going to use that thread to do, which is a multicolored or multi-tonal thread, to do my stitching here. So it just goes from a dark pink to a white. And it's not something that I'm normally a huge fan of, but for some reason I think it just works with this pale color pink. And so you can see the white there really is blending into it. And what I guess the look that I'm going for is I want something that looks like it's come over and just been made to look like the light's hitting it. Okay. So what's everybody else been up to this week? And you can see here what I mean about the zebra. You do really get those two colors, but I'm not horrified by it as I am sometimes. I think it almost works in this particular design. Okay, so Selena's been reorganizing her sewing room. You can come down to my place when you finish there, Selena. And what's Michelle been doing? Michelle has finished sorting her room. God, you're good. Okay. And the other thing that I'm loving that I'm doing with this as well is it's really giving me a chance with my metallic thread stash. I've got in my King Stars, I've got the Christmas green, I've got the Christmas blue, and I've got the Christmas red. And I really don't use them as much as I could. And they're King Stars, so they're darn great threads. But this is giving me the opportunity. So I'm going to have the lovely Lola here doing a, or wearing an emerald brooch. An emerald was the first jewels my darling husband ever gave me. And I lost them. Which is quite disappointing. I'm sorry, that's wrong. I haven't lost them. We have misplaced an entire box when we moved from Melbourne to Sydney. We figure it's got to be around somewhere, so we're not totally worried about it. But yeah, bugger if we can work it out. And thankfully it didn't have my engagement ring in it. Oh, macrame class, very nice. I did macrame in high school. Okay. Now, the other way that you could really use heat transfer if you wanted to really make these 3D is these elements here outside of the divas themselves. Take it into your cutter software and cut these out using different heat transfers, different glitters, different, puffy stuff, all of that, just for some different texturized looks. Yeah, I've seen that macrame's all big. I saw somebody was selling on Facebook down here the good old macrame owl from the 70s. And my mother had one of those and she just loved it. Well, she loved it for the first couple. Oh, Michelle, I am always happy for other people to do work. I'm a huge fan of work. I could watch people do it all day long. And it was quite interesting. While I was out at the hairdressers today, because I get my hair dyed at the local TAFE. It's only about 20 minutes away, and instead of costing me $300 or $400, it only costs me for a cut, tone, and colour. Only costs me $75. So I'm out, and they're asking me what toner I wanted on it and what style I wanted it cut in. Okay, so next we're up to our cheeks, and these are very, very 1920s. We're talking circular little rounds. And I didn't particularly like the colour that I'd used on the first one, which was almost a skin tone in itself. So this one I've got a very peachy sort of a pink, just to be different. So I'm hunting back through photos, trying to work out who on Facebook Messenger or on text message I'd sent photos to of previous times I've had my hair done. And all I can see is, my God, I talk some crap to some people. There are just people who I message with a lot. And you know who you are. But I do love a nice red lip. And that is one thing that I'm keeping the same on all of my divas. They are all having the same colour red lip. Just for a little bit of continuity. Okay, now we can start on all of our all of the fun stuff. And this is all so this is going to be metallic now. So I'm going to load up my Kingstar metallic. If you haven't used it before, it is phenomenal. Now, having said that, I sell the Wonderfill multi-tonal threads that we use for quilting when I'm showing you. All good, wonderful, yada yada. I have also been, they sent me a sample of one of their metallics, and my goodness, it is stitching beautifully. I need to try it on a couple of different machines over the next couple of weeks, but I might have found some new metallic thread, and the colours that these guys have got is just gorgeous as well. It's always good trying to work out what exactly thread you're actually after. But you gotta love a little bit of glitter coming across. What is it? Don't mean a thing if it ain't got that bling. So, as we come through on that one. And what I love is I was doing these before, like I've always had a 1920s thing. The one pieces of furniture that I wanted off my grandmother was, you know, the Art Deco curved glass buffet and things like that. But yeah, the 20s really came into fashion in the last couple of years. And I mean, Grace wore 1920s flapper dress to the formal last year. She, you know, she even had the hairpiece from the flapper era and the gloves. And you can see how the light's just reflecting off that beautifully. So what I'm trying to do when I'm using thread, when I'm creating all of this, is I am trying to let the threads give a textural sort of a look to what we are doing. And good evening, Linny. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. And good evening, Jack, Lynn's husband, because I'm sure he's watching as well. And I know he loves the dulcet tone of my voice, especially because it freaks him out that I might actually be in his house. And the reason I say that is because when we're about to do the necklace and the brooch, one of the things that I really like the achievement of is just by moving around the direction that those stitches are going in, really does give it more of a 3D effect. Oh, Selena's got her grandmother's curved glass cabinet. Oh, wow. Went to the eldest granddaughters. Okay. No, ours, my sister got a lamp that was sort of like that, I believe, because I'm the second daughter. It is like I always really admired this buffet, and the only thing I'm annoyed at myself about is that I didn't ask for the table to match it. I didn't want to be greedy, and I thought somebody else in the family had asked for it. I thought either my brother or my sister would want it. So I didn't ask for it, and they ended up chucking it. One of those glass top tables that always had a tissue at the corners so that the glass didn't sit right on top of the wooden part. And it was really interesting. We did, while Dad and I were away, just for fun, I looked up where Nana lived, because they lived in one house their entire married life. I looked up the address, and I was absolutely stupefied because it was in Merrylands in Sydney near Parramatta. And the outside facade of the house hasn't changed. Obviously, they've added on at the back from what I can see on Google Maps, but yeah. So not a change in 80, 90 years. And good evening, Janet. Watch on. I hope you're having a lovely evening. I had to go do the menu plan after this. I don't know if anybody heard me on Tuesday. It was so funny while I was away. I was getting messages from darling husband. I need you to text me the menu plan for the week. Cameron took the menu plan shopping and then threw it away when he was finished with it. So they had a house full of food and no idea what to make with it. Which we all thought was pretty funny. The other thing that was pretty funny was Cameron, so the 18-year-old, did the grocery shopping to save hubby from having to do it. And look, you guys know I love my darling husband. He's wonderful. But, forethought and planning are not friends. And to pay for the groceries, he had to give Cameron his credit card or his tap and go card. So, all good. Fabulous. But he didn't think enough to think, gee, I hope I don't need petrol. Or, I don't have a 20 even in my pocket to buy a cup of coffee or something. So I've changed for the next set of travelling that I'll just transfer 300 into his account. That should cover him. And good evening, Angela. How are we doing? So this is, of course, my necklace. And Lola's one of the quicker ones. So she doesn't have like the hands holding the champagne glass, all those sorts of things. Oh, Selena, I would hate to think. I mean, I know my grandparents paid £1,000 for it when they bought it in the late 30s, early 40s. I know what they sold it for when we had to move Nan into care. But you know, this would have been one of those big this was one of those big quarter-acre blocks. Like, you know, Granddad had so many flower beds out the back that he'd grow veggies on, that he'd had his roses in. I'd hate to think of what it was worth now. But I kind of love that somebody's kept the original facade. I think that's kind of cool. And it was a California bungalow, so that's kind of nice too. Yes, exactly. If you popped black hair on her. And so what I've done is I've done a blonde, this brown, and then a black hair, like just so that each of them are that little bit different. Okay, so the outside of my brooch is going to be in gold because I wanted everything to match along. And to be quite honest, I was nearly out of silver and the new silver stock hadn't arrived. But yeah, the only problem I'm having with the grey background is I'm finding it more difficult with the outside elements, finding colours that pop enough on the grey. Grey is one of those colours that really just can drag other colours in. Now, Selena, I know you're a above Brisbane sort of a person. You need to keep a week free in maybe end of October, early November, because we are going to have a retreat down your way, and it's going to be a multidisciplinary retreat. So looking forward to being able to share details with you. I'll be finalising them in the next week or so. And we are going to be having embroidery. We are going to have sewing and fitting, like how to fit your patterns yourself. We're going to have scan and cut for people who like their cutters, and we are going to have some bag making and some patchwork as well. So it'll kind of be like an elective sort of a thing. So you come to the retreat, or you sign up for the retreat, and then you get to sign up for the classes that you want to do. Is the way that we are thinking about it. Okay. Oh, Michelle Reynolds, I'm inviting you. I don't know. Like, you know, we've all got standards, darling. Not only can you come, Ms. Michelle, there might be something for you to do there. Okay. And I'm kind of liking just that pop that the emerald is giving. So then we're going to come along. Now, I did have somebody questioning how we get around the fact that we're stitching, even if it's we're stitching an open fill here, over this white basting stitch. Not a problem, because I've done it all in wash away thread, and that's the reason that I've done it in wash away thread. Now, the other thing that I'm hoping to work on for next year, and we might do some sections of it in our Locked in Stitches classes, is we've got I'm working on a digitizing class, and concept of it being that you use the software that you've got, but we take you through the elements of digitizing, and we help you work it out how to do it on your particular software. And that is something that somebody has suggested even might be a small retreat, and might be something that could be done even on a cruise ship. And Michelle Reynolds, you just had to have that mind meld thing going on, didn't you? So you can see what I mean here with the green thread. It does, as striking as it looks on the brooch, when you put it on the grey, it does go that little bit more dull. Now, I'm not worried about that. I just think it's an interesting point. Oh, I was so embarrassed yesterday. I'm running behind, like as I often do. Because I've been off with Dad, flitting around the world. I got a hold of, or I need to get a hold of my sister-in-law, whose place I'm going to stay at when I'm up in Brisbane next month or next week. And, haven't spoken to you for a couple of weeks. Are you still cool if I come and visit? Well, actually, I tried to call first and just left a message for her to call me back. And she sent me a text or a messenger message saying, phone's out of charge, what we after? So I write back, can I come and stay? I'm hoping to arrive on this day. And then at the end of it, it sounds so rude when you put it in writing. Now, I meant that I sound terribly rude. She thought I was judging her for saying, yeah, I'm here, what do you want? Oh, God, I was so embarrassed. You just don't want to offend people. Well, I sat down with the kids this afternoon and we went through the calendar. Because Boyo wants to know what date he's got to take off for the family wedding. He wants to know what date he's got to take for, or when I'm going to be back so that he can book his car in for a service. He wants to know when, all this sort of stuff. And within 10 minutes, we'd gone through all the way to May. And it's just terrifying. Like, just how quickly the year is floating away. Okay. And it's always the outline that adds to any of these. You kind of need that outline stitch just to make the entire thing pop. Okay, so next colour is going to be, and I'm going to choose a dusty blue here that I'm hoping will work well. purple. Near enough. Okay. And you know me, I've got to have purple. It's, you know, it's just my thing. Oh, good question, Selena. What colour would I have chosen to make the stitching pop more? Okay. Yeah. Orange, bright blue, yellow. I'm even just going to have a look-see. And look, it doesn't, and you can see just that grey is great at hiding things in. Okay, so now I'm going to do my steel blue. Okay. Oh, yes, Dasanka, I like. Oh, no, sorry, Dasanka, yes. Good evening. How are you doing? And Selena's saying she'd like to see it on denim. I could see that working amazing. Okay, so, and this is then my finished product. So you can see there the different, yeah, you know, just how the different ones are coming in. It all works well. It's just what looks that little bit different. Now, what I wanted to show you was what we're going to do next week. And I have to show you this one. Okay. Oops days. And here you can see all of my different photos. We are going to make some gift bags / storage bags out of an old pair of jeans. So jeans, trousers, anything like that. We are going to do the first part in altering some jeans for what we need. Now, the other things that I wanted to show you when I was saying I was working on one of the Women in Style, that is one of the Women of Style designs that I've done this week that I'm going to make into a bag, and I'll show you how that looks, of course, as we come through. But similar style to the Deco Divas, but just very much the hats, the much more modern take on it. Other than that, this week I'm working on a very cute little clutch purse, and that's the thread that I was talking about, that I'm looking at getting. And what I'm loving about it is, if we come and have a look at some of the colors. So these are all of the metallic range. In this collection. And I'm thinking we could possibly have some fun with that. Okay. Oh, thank you, Selena. That's lovely. Yeah, hair's not bad. It's a little bit whiter than I'm liking. It might be a purpley grey rinse over the weekend. I haven't quite decided yet. Although I did see a really bright pink and thought, oh, I'd like to be the person who could get away with that. I'm thinking it's important that your hair matches your shirt as often as possible. So that is it for me this week. Thank you all for coming and checking it out. Naturally, if there's anything that you want to see, check in the show notes or just drop us a line and we will respond to you. And other than that, I'll see you next week. Have a stitching day.